Hello everyone, Mara here. Happy New Year and all of that stuff. I hope that Christmas was fun for everyone. Okay, so I've wanted to do a video or at least write about this kind of topic for quite a while. I guess this can kind of be considered an origin story. I didn't really know what to do for visuals, so you'll just have whatever I have up on screen right now. Uh, I guess this is kind of like a storytime podcast thing now. I do have a few more videos like this planned. I just need to put together a decent script because if I don't really have notes, then I'm going to be a rambling mess. Okay, sit back, relax, and enjoy this. As a young kid, I kind of got into reading pretty early on. I was first introduced to literature by my mom reading a lot of books to me at bedtime. And when I got into school and learned of the beauty that is the library, I was reading a whole lot. I did this thing where I walked down the halls with my nose in a book, and I kind of maneuvered myself around people and just like other obstacles while my eyes were just kept on the book. I don't really know how I did that. I loved reading a lot of things, mostly just fiction books. I read about pigeons not being allowed to drive a bus, I read about a girl with psychic powers, and I read a book about a vampire attending middle school. I do wish that I read a lot more science and like historical books, kind of like the National Geographic books, because honestly, that could have made me more smart in a sense. Getting into writing, I think the earliest story that I wrote was pretty much a short poem about a vampire falling in love with a very pretty lady. I'm pretty sure that even back then, I enjoyed the concept of monsters falling in love with humans. And I think I wrote this around second grade. Pretty much anything that I wrote would be stored through a lot of notebooks. None I can find anymore, sadly, but I don't really think we're missing much. Both my handwriting and story writing skills back then were they were garbage. I only began writing quote unquote seriously when I was around 13 years old. Granted, all of the pieces that I wrote were self-insert creepypasta fanfics because I was really big into creepypasta at that age. So pretty much I wrote a lot of poorly written short horror stories. I was I was angsty and I was just having a lot of like neurodivergency issues and mental health issues. I was dealing with anxiety, depression, and also my ADHD. And writing helped me cope to an extent. I don't know, sometime in middle school, I just kind of like stopped writing. So when I got into high school, I didn't really write all that much until around junior to senior year. I got into some creative writing courses in my junior year, and pretty much throughout all of my English classes, I was having a blast. I think I've always enjoyed English or English language arts ELA classes because it's where I thrived both emotionally and creatively. And senior year is when I learned about Tumblr and exophilia, which is essentially uh, an it's more or less being attracted to monsters or enjoying monsters and humans being paired up. That's not the actual definition, that's the one that I can kind of think off the top of my head. I dove into writing about monsters falling in love with humans, and I wrote around 67 short stories, which also counts a few commissions, until I got burnt out at the beginning of my freshman year of college. I have thought about posting all those stories again, like maybe in a Google Doc or on AO3, but I'm just not entirely sure because, again, some of them were commissions and don't. I don't know. I don't know. That and just like the formats of this, each story is like a. It's a little jumbled, and I do remember having to edit quite a lot in the drafts on Tumblr. So, uh, I don't know. Maybe I'll just revamp a few of my favorites someday. I think when I got into college, my drive for writing dipped a lot. The majority of my energy was spent on studying, homework, and just trying to mentally get through the massive workload. And each semester, I kept thinking, oh, it'll be fine this time, it'll be fine, and it wasn't. As of right now, I've been working on several different novels, but I'm mainly focusing on one web novel this time. The other two novels are going to be put on the back burner, but I'm kind of hoping to bring back one of them sometime maybe in 2024. It all really depends on if I can get the first draft of the current web novel finished this year. I've mainly focused on two genres so far, romance and horror. Romance came first, and then when my mental illness got a lot worse at age 13, I stuck with horror. And pretty much I've been flip-flopping between the two genres ever since. And, I think there's something really beautiful about these two genres, especially when they're like mixed together, like a horror romance or a romantic horror. Those are probably two different things. And yeah, that's pretty much my journey as a writer so far. From a bookworm to someone who writes about vampires, demons, romance, and horror. I don't think I'm ever going to stop writing. I've just got a billion stories and characters in my head, and I am rotating all of them simultaneously. And I have no clue if they'll ever see the light of day. I think it's pretty fun to just think about them, yeah, there's this character and there's this cool land that they live in, and it's all in my brain, and it's specifically tailored for me. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoy this kind of content, please comment below and tell me your thoughts about it. Bye, everyone.